It's good YouTube. Carify King here, Aqua Life baby. You already know how it is. So I have a locals report video for you guys. It's been a long time since I had one of these. Have a full-time job, but my schedule kind of sucks because I work Tuesday through Saturday, and Saturdays when I have my normal locals like Gritty Goblin games. But since I have Sundays off, I'm able to go to some other locals, and that's really good as well. Got to go to Superstar Card Gaming yesterday, and again, felt like a brotherhood there. Really nice, good energy. Love, I've known them for years, but love the people there. It's just, pretty it's not a close distance from me, but the experience was definitely worth getting out there for. So played in locals. I took, Aqua Force, Aqua Life baby. Even though, people say, don't take it. It's what I like to play. It's what it's what I'm good with right now. It's what I'm good with. And we did pretty well. We did pretty well with Aqua Force yesterday. So we were playing. It was pre-Miyagi, not not one of the locals where you play it and some people have stuffed in their pre-release stuff, whatever it is. Everybody was playing on a pre-Miyagi field. Round one, played against Royal Paladins. I won that one 2-0. Basically, both games kind of went a bit of the same. I was able to see Algos and Tidal, and to a credit, Wave Nation made two really good videos. I think it was three, but two really good videos on different attack patterns and kind of like your commitment with like Maelstrom and Navel Gazer, where Maelstrom limit yourself to a 4 attack pattern to where you're not throwing, because the 5th attack is kind of something, oh yeah, your opponent's going to take here and there, whatever it is, but that could be that could really be more or less overextending at times, and you should really kind of save those plays for when you're more or less pushing your game. And I know that oh yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7 attacks is sexy, but if it gives your opponents counterblast here and there, if it if they hit a damage trigger, then you've committed all that, and it doesn't doesn't come to fruition, then you're sitting there in trouble with a low hand count. Well, so what you did was with Navel Gazer, and this is what happened both games as well. With Navel Gazer and like Tidal or Algos, I was able to get off a total of 4 attacks. But really good value out of them, especially as a first ride. I didn't commit too much. Put a Theo behind my Vanguard. Swung Tidal, restand Tidal, 1919. Navel Gazer for 30, restand Tidal. If Navel Gazer hit, then Tidal will be sitting at 27 from Theo's skill. Not counting any triggers. Then they have to deal with that attack. Still. Just a good turn. And if you have like a Riptide in hand, you can definitely commit a Riptide if you're on Navel Gazer, because with Navel Gazer you're trying to go for more. You're going for more attacks but less of a commitment in a way. Maelstrom does say does kind of press for more of a commitment, but depending on how you style your turn, you can still get off less commitment, but maximum value from that. And also with the crits we're playing in the deck, even as well as even if you're not going to hit crits or you're just playing front triggers, using Tidal Assault, actually using him after the first battle is so good. I wish I had started doing this play a little bit more often, but it's so good. Because you can go like Maelstrom scale. Okay, I'll explain that more. But you can go like Maelstrom scale, swing like dagger, knock out an intercept, boosted Maelstrom, swing at the Vanguard with Theo boosting or whatever it is. Your opponent's probably gonna no guard that. Then you have give all effects or whatever. If you hit triggers, give power to Tidal. But that's where Theo comes in handy. You just keep just stack power from Theo onto like Tidal Assault or whatever. And then Tidal Assault, can swing twice with his, with his ability. You can swing Tidal once, then maybe Riptide, then Tidal again, something like that. It's really cool with the way that we're changing the way up. And again, I encourage you guys to go watch Wave Nation's videos on that. I think it's very good information for Aqua Force players in general. But back to it. That's how both games went. Was able to pressurize it. He was playing like, I think he had like, because his hand kept getting stuffed with grade threes and escapades, and he never had Blaster Blade in the Soul both games, obviously because we don't have access to Painter and things like that. So his escapades, every time he kept drawing them, they were dead in his hand, and that was one less card I had to worry about him guarding with. So that was good. Round two, I played against another Royal Paladin deck. This one was probably my most pressurizing match of the day. Game one, my opponent, it was kind of a back and forth game. I was hitting my heels on damage, but he continually, literally every single drive check on grade 3 revealed at least one crit trigger. And we kind of I think he saw 7 of his 8 crits that game. Besides hitting certain things on damage, he saw on offensive drive checks 7 of his 8 crits. It was just that bad. And though I was surviving, though the strategy of being able to commit less, maximum value, retain hand is what kept me in the game. However, those crit triggers put me on a clock, and they sped my clock up too much, and I just couldn't get out of it. Even though I did heal on 6, he still came back the next turn, hit a crit. I had to guard this like 40k column. It was terrible. Then game 2, I was able to come back and win. Saw Maelstrom. Tidal Assault was swinging for 45k twice. I hit a front and a crit because he no guarded me at 3. Maelstrom, I checked a crit, gave the power to Tidal Assault. Then I hit a front trigger, putting him Tidal Assault to total 42. Then Theod's ability gave it to Tidal Assault, put him at 45. So put him at 50k. 50k for one swing, 45 twice, and so 45 twice was still really, really good. That was a lot of shield my opponent had to commit at 5 damage just to block that. So Tidal Assault definitely took that one. And then game three again, it was another back and forth type of game, and he did escapade me. But while he was sitting on Blaster Blade, I just had a field of Navel Gazer and Algos, and I swung Algos. He was at 5. Swung Algos for 19, restand Algos again. Navel Gazer for 22, restand Algos. Gave me 2 to pass. I checked double crit, gave it to Algos, and then he didn't have enough to block a 39k Algos while sitting on a Blaster Blade. So was able to clutch that game out. And then round 3, I got destroyed by Neo Nectars. Both games pretty much went the same way. Opened up with Marika, then opened up with double Sylvia on his turn 2. Game 1, I think he had the tree. Game 2, he didn't, but he was able to commit, I think, like a Kavant or something like that. But then, he was able to rush me there. He really kept hitting, like I said. Between the Royal game and that game, they were both hitting a lot of crit triggers and really sped my clock up, and I really couldn't push back too heavily. Even though I did get minimal commitment, maximum value, and I was able to push him well. Hitting a heal and a draw on damage, and then coming back hitting double crit with his 40k lanes and whatnot. It was just a bit too much between both games, and they kind of flowed the same way. Game 2, I pushed him to 5. But then he came back with Cecilia, hit double crit, split the triggers, and both attacks were swinging for lethal while I was at 4 damage, and I could only afford to block one of them. So it was really out of my favor in that one. But got destroyed round 3. Round 4, played against Genesis. Notice a trend. I've played all Force decks. Against Genesis, game 1, Game 1, I lost because my opponent healed on 6, and then I didn't see Tidal or Algos that game. Healed on 6, and then I didn't really have enough to defend myself because I did have to overcommit a little bit just so I can get a certain number of attacks off. But he was at 5 damage, and I was pushing for game. However, the heal on 6 definitely helped him, and because he no guarded the first attack, healed on 6, and then the rest of the cards in his hand he was able to guard with and win. And then he was playing Artemis with it was just an Artemis deck, no Himiko. Then game 2, I was able to game 2 I didn't see Tidal or Algos till late in the game. And then, but I was able to take that one because I had some really nice pressure with my grade threes. Dagger got up to like 39k. Couldn't block that. Theo was putting in work, being able to attack second on the Excel circle. If it hit, then I can give 8k to himself or something else. So it was really good. Theo definitely put in a lot of work that game, giving things a lot of value and power. And then my opponent started to value Theo a lot more for what he was doing. As an attacker, and started trying to pressure my rear guards, which allowed me to save up some more hand, or make smarter blocks, and have him like absorb some attacks. So then on my offensive turn, I could pressure him more. So I did that, and then game three, once again, I didn't see Algos or Tidal that entire game, and literally I had a field of grade threes. Road Naval Gazer. I called a Maelstrom to the Excel circle, and a Penguin Soldier to the rearguard circle. I swung at his AK card, then swung with Maelstrom, attacked with Naval Gazer, restand Maelstrom, swung with Maelstrom again. And this, I had Theo boosting as well. And then, by the time I rolled my second grade 3, I literally had my entire playset of Maelstroms and a extra copy of Naval Gazer and Riptide. It was crazy. I had all these grade 3s, but again, making the second Excel circle, getting out Riptide, getting out another copy of Naval Gazer, another Maelstrom on. I literally had my whole front row was literally grade 3s. But I'm like, look, I have enough Excel circles. Let me get these grade 3s out. Let me put them to work. They did work. Didn't see Algos or Tidal that whole game. But I checked a front trigger, and my stuff was big, and it was hitting hard. And he couldn't block it. But that was that. I ended the day 3-1. Played against all Forest Clans. I ended up in 3rd place overall. So I would say pretty good day at the office for Aquaforce. Right now we are in a matchup. Right now we're in a state of learning matchups. Right now we are discovering. Again, everything takes time, and right now we are discovering different ways to play with Aquaforce. We're not tossing out everything, because Algos and Tidal are 2 rear guards built into one, and we're not sitting there tossing out our hand like we're Nova grapplers and trying to go all in and whatnot. Like I said, and I've always said this, and I have always said this since the beginning of the channel, Aquaforce is more tempo than anything else. We're not like a toss your hand and try and go. I mean, you can, some people have that mindset, and we have the potential to do that, but once we get burned, and that's it. And if we play more of a tempo style, we still get a lot of maximum value, but for not a lot of commitment, letting us retain defensive advantage, and then being able to go in next turn. Again, Tidal and Algos are definitely the 2 stars of the deck. And Theo is definitely one of the best supporting roles as well. So, but yeah, right now we're in a matchup thing, and I think I'm gonna make a video on what I think our matchups are going into the Miyagi set. How do we match up against golds? Early on, I'm gonna say this: I think that Nubatama is probably our easiest matchup out of the entire Miyagi set, and I think that I feel like Narukami is probably going to be our hardest matchup. Ezel's up there as well, but I think Narukami is going to be our hardest matchup. But I'm going to break all that down in another video, just talk about our matchups versus the different Miyagi clans and what we can look forward to, and how we can probably just approach each of these matchups differently, because we're not getting support until July, and we just got to focus on matchups until we see what our new support is. Is Aquaforce going to be changed or not? What are we going to get? Because it seems like everything that's coming out for Wave 2 is more or less an update to the original build from their first wave, more so than the whole deck changing. So we'll see. But this has been the Cardfight King, Aqua Life baby. You already know how it is, and we out.